can't even lead a party that fits in the back of a taxi.
A heated clash erupted between Lee Anderson and Keir Starmer during a House of Commons debate, where Starmer managed to evade direct answers with vague responses. However, Lee Anderson has since criticized Starmer, claiming that he was too embarrassed to provide a clear answer. In today's video, we'll watch and react to the exchange, breaking down what happened and revealing exactly what Lee Anderson had to say. But before we dive in, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Now, let's get into it.
Lee Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I come to this chamber, Mr. Speaker, every week to ask sensible questions, and I expect sensible answers. But all I get is glazed expressions and waffle, and from the opposite benches. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to ask the Prime Minister a very simple question. On behalf of all the net zero sceptics, if we became net zero tomorrow, by how much would it reduce the Earth's temperature by? Simple question.
Minister.
Mr. Speaker, net zero is of course not easy, but it's a huge opportunity to boost our growth, our jobs and our economy. And so he knows my views on that. But you know, he complains that have better ideas if they stop fawning over Putin. And I understand the member for Clacton wants to be Prime Minister. He can't even lead a party that fits in the back of a taxi.
As Keir Starmer evaded with vague answers, Lee Anderson recently spoke out in an interview with GB News, criticizing Starmer's response as pathetic. Anderson stated, "It wasn't a response at all. He either couldn't answer the question or knew the answer and was too embarrassed to say it." But it didn't end there. Another serious exchange took place in Parliament on an even more pressing question. Take a look at this.
Show Secretary of State, James.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And can I associate the opposition with the remarks of Secretary of State on Paddy Hemingway, the last of the few to whom we owe so much? On the potential peacekeeping force for Ukraine, we've heard from the Secretary of State that this is jointly British and French. In fact, he stressed in every one of his answers the amount of work we are doing with France. So is it therefore not extraordinary that at the very same time France should be working to undermine our defence industry by having us excluded from a £150 billion European defence fund, which will include other non-EU states?
Well, the honourable gentleman's a sort of half-empty rather than half-full type of guy, isn't he? Look, the European Union, when they produced their defence and security white paper last week, set in place specific arrangements for any third nation, like the UK, that strikes a defence and security partnership with the European Union, exactly what we went to the country with as a promise to undertake as a UK government. Any country with a partnership in place then has potentially access to those sort of programmes, that sort of funding, and that's what we will try and negotiate for this country and our industry.
James Carter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I can assure the Secretary I am full bifters behind our armed forces and the UK defence industry. Isn't this the point? We provide unconditionally to European NATO countries our nuclear deterrent 24/7. Our army is in Estonia defending Europe's eastern flank, and we have done more than any other European nation to support Ukraine. So can I ask the Secretary of State if he and the Prime Minister will stand up to President Macron and stress to him this is the worst possible time to prioritise fishing rights over Europe's collective security?
I just say to the honourable gentleman, look, drop that Brexit rhetoric. We are leading efforts with the French government and the French military to meet the challenge of the US and the requirements of the Ukraine to have a coalition of countries willing to stand with Ukraine in the context of a negotiated peace to help them secure enduring stability and deterrence to prevent Russia reinvading that sovereign country.
What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know in the comments below, and make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more British content.